Okay everyone, here we go on the instructions to the Ruby Satchel. This is going to be video number 1, which is the prep information in your pattern. So in front of me I have all my pattern pieces, and what I want to do first of all before we do go into the prep information is I want to cover all the pattern pieces with you and where they apply to the bag itself. So pattern piece A, which has your 2-inch square on it as well. Always recommend that you print this piece off first. Make sure everything is square before you waste paper printing the rest off. This pattern is your flap right here. There are placement marks here for your piping and a placement mark right there for your magnetic snap if that's what you're going to do. You have centers on top and the bottom, and you are going to need to cut one of these in the exterior, one in the lining, and one in a fusible interfacing. So that is your flap area right here. Pattern piece B, which is your exterior front back pocket. That's this piece right here. So if I were to undo that tongue lock, this portion right here, and at the back is your exterior front and back pocket. You need to cut 2 in your exterior, 2 in your lining, and 2 in fusible interfacing. That's pattern piece B. Pattern piece C is your upper back, which is cut in your exterior. So I'll just flip this over. So this piece right here is this piece right up here. So as you can see, there's a seam right there. This is your upper back, and you need to cut one of those in exterior. Pattern piece D, which is your exterior sides. That's these guys right here, this piece right here, and this piece right here. You need to cut 2 of those in your exterior. So that's pattern piece D. Pattern piece E is your base. And of course, there are placement marks for your feet. So what you need to do is you need to punch these areas out before you do the transfer, but that is for your base right here, pattern piece E. Pattern piece H is your interior lining. You need to cut 2 of these in your lining and 2 in a medium weight fusible interfacing. So that is pattern piece H, which is basically this back wall here, as well as this back wall here of your lining. You also want to make sure that you cut out this area right here on the paper pattern piece only, not on your lining. That is strictly to draw your window for your zipper area. That's pattern piece H. Pattern piece I is your front pocket wall lining. Now you need to cut one of these in lining, and you need to cut one in a very heavy weight fusible interfacing. So that piece is the piece that is right back through here, all the way back. This piece right here, that is the back wall of this pocket right here. So you need that to be in a heavy weight fusible interfacing, and you only need to cut one of those. Pattern piece F, which is your facing piece, and of course that's this area right in through here, which is your facing right there. You need to cut 2 of those in your exterior. There are placement marks, as you see, for your zipper right here, so pay attention to those as well. Pattern piece G is your zipper placket, and you need to cut 2 of those in your exterior, and of course this is your zipper placket right here. Pattern piece J is your lower back outside pocket. So again, that's your back. Down inside there, you can see that lining right in there. That is your lower back outside pocket lining. So you need to cut one of these in the lining and one in a heavy weight fusible interfacing. So those are 2 pieces, I and J, that need to have a heavy weight fusible interfacing added to them. They need a little bit more structure on the bottom because there is no exterior on that area. K is obviously your interior zipper overlay, which I just haven't cut out yet, but you want to cut out this area right here on the paper pattern piece as well as on your zipper overlay. Pattern piece L is your interior slip pocket lining. That is basically this portion right here. Now, suggestion, this is on the fold. What you might want to do is print out 2 of these and just tape them together to give you one full piece. But you're going to need to cut one of these in lining once it's on the fold and cut one in fusible interfacing. Pattern piece M is your interior zipper pocket, which is the lining, which is this area right in here. So that's your interior zipper lining. And once again, it is on the fold. So if you print off 2 of these and tape them together, you're going to have one full piece. And the dimensions on both L and M are 8 inches by 10 inches and 9 inches by 12 inches. And those are the full pieces once you have opened them up off of the fold. So L and M. Now, pattern pieces AA, BB, CC, DD, and then of course your templates here. So let's just cover AA. This is your flap foam as well as your flap stabilizer. So what you need to do is you need to cut one in a Decaville Light as well as one in a self-adhesive foam. Now I'm using self-adhesive foam in my bag. It's available through Michaels, through Creatology, and it's 9 by 12 sheets. Now if you were going to be using just a standard closed cell foam, because I recommend closed cell foam in this bag, and it's not self-adhesive, then you can actually glue it in with either contact cement, or you can completely cover the back of it with your 2-inch, carpet tape that I give you information on how to do the straps with that. And you can use that as well if you wish. And it's got really good stickiness to it, and none of the foam is placed within the seams, and that's why it's important that it needs to adhere to the exterior pieces, because you do not want that coming off. So again, please note that the foam must be glued in place if it's not self-adhesive foam. So pay close attention to that. That's pattern piece AA. So those pieces are both in the flap. Pattern piece BB is your front back foam right in here. So again, you need 2 pieces of self-adhesive foam. Now, if you want to make this a little thinner in your foam, you can actually use like the the dish packing foam in here as well. But once again, you need to glue it or permanently adhere it to the exterior piece after it's been sewn, as instructions are provided in the pattern. Again, glue in or peel and stick. CC, this is your upper back foam. So this is foam that goes into this area on the inside before you complete your bag. So once again, you need to cut one of those in a self-adhesive foam, or if you want to make your own peel and stick foam, then you can with the carpet tape. Pattern piece DD, once again, it's your foam that goes here on the side from here to here. This foam gives you that structure and that soft feel. So it's a semi-structured bag, and that's what gives it that whole look, is this foam. Once again, pay attention. None of these foam pieces are stitched within your seam allowance, so you can use the carpet tape if you wish, and that because you're not sewing through it. So that's kind of important to know. And the last of the pattern pieces are your templates, and these are strictly templates. You do not need to cut anything out of these, but they are to be placed onto the crossbody strap for placement for your rivets, as well as your oblong hole punch where your buckle is going to be. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to clear away this whole area. I'm going to grab all of my pattern pieces, and we're going to cover what markings you need to place on your exterior and your lining pieces in preparation for your sewing. In front of me, I have other pieces that need to be cut according to the cutting chart that do not have pattern pieces associated with them. So I will cover those right now. This is 2 pieces for your crossbody buckle strap. 1¼ inches wide by 14 inches long. You need 2 of these cut and ready to go. Now on one side of them, you need to have Decaville light fused to the wrong side. Your stabilizer that's listed as well as in the cutting chart, just on one side, not on the other one. So you should have one with Decaville light, one without. You're also going to need the other portion of the crossbody strap, which is 1¼ inches wide by 44 inches long. One will not have the Decaville light fused to it, but one will. So you want to make sure that that is nicely centered down the middle of that strap. You're going to also need 2 pieces for your strap tabs, 1 inch by 4 inches long, and you will need the fusible interfacing, the Decaville light, placed on the back side, fused in place of those pieces as well. You're going to need this piece, which is a 1 inch by 8 inch piece, which is the top of your zipper pocket, or sorry, not your zipper pocket, your slip pocket, so that's facing on top. You're also going to need 2 lining pieces, 2 inches by 11 inch for the wrong side of your zipper placket. So make sure that you cut those pieces as well, because they do not have a pattern piece. Now, if you're going to go ahead and use the handle here, like the decorative handle, you're going to need 4 additional pieces. 2 pieces that are 2¼ by 4¼ that's going to be the handle tab, like that. And the other 2 pieces are going to be 2 inches by 9 inches, and they're going to be rolled up, and they're going to be your insert right at the top, right there. So if you're using the decorative handles, those 4 pieces also need to be cut. So let's just cover a bit of the hardware before we continue with the markings. On the inside of the bag, you're going to need a number 3 zipper with the pull for your interior zipper pocket. Your exterior, you're going to need a number 5, either metal or nylon zipper for the top portion by the zipper placket. And of course, you're going to need the pulls, the matching pulls on. You're going to need your zipper end for the end of your top zipper. You're also going to need 2 1/2-inch D-rings for your tab straps, 3 sets of rivets. These are short post rivets, so you've got 3 caps and 3 posts, and that's going to be for your crossbody strap area. And if you are going to be using the handles, you're going to need 2 of the decorative handles from Bringberry. You're also going to need this plaid tongue lock, if that's what you choose to use on the front of your flap. If not, you just need the magnetic snap, which I have right here. If you're adding feet to your bag, you're going to need 4 feet. You'll need them to be a screw-in type of a foot or a prong type of foot, not the riveting type. And also for your crossbody strap, which is 3/4 inch wide, you're going to need a center bar buckle that's 3/4 inch wide, and 2 swivel hooks that are 3/4 inch wide. Now I am cutting my strap to be 3/4 inch wide because it's better proportion to this bag. However, I fully understand that some people don't want to spend the money on just those 3 pieces of hardware for the 3/4 inch strap. So if you do choose to go with a 1-inch strap, I just want you to be reminded that it may be a little bit bulkier than what it should be. So if you are aware of that, then you don't have to worry about that. But also you will need to cut your straps at 1 inch instead of 3/4 inch for that area you're going to go with 1 inch. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear away this area, and I'm going to bring the pattern pieces exterior and the interfacings in so that we can go over the markings that need to be done there. So in front of me, I have the pieces that require some marking. But before I forget, one of the items that is, I forgot to mention to you when we were talking about the pieces also that need to be cut, was the piping piece. This piece is 1 1/8 inches wide by 16 inches long. And because I'm using vinyl, I needed this to be cut on the bias. So you can see that stretch. You need that stretch. You need that to come around that curve right here so that you don't get any kind of bends. So this piece is Mora. If you're using leather, generally the stretch goes either way, but you may want to test to make sure that you have the best stretch going for that leather piece. And again, the thinner the better. If you have too thick vinyl here or leather, the leather needs to be skived 100% back to 1.5 ounces. And if you're using too thick of a vinyl, you will not get a nice clean area right here for your piping. So bear that in mind. If you're using a different thicker vinyl, then you may want to find one that's thinner to add your color to your piping. Again, you're going to also need your cording, 1.8 millimeter in thickness, to place inside for the piping. So those are two items that I neglected to mention in that last little bit. Okay, so in front of me I have all of my exterior pieces and my lining pieces that require marking. Pattern piece A, which is your flap, you need to mark center top and bottom on the right side, as well as a placement mark for your piping on the right side. On the wrong side, you need center top and bottom. And then what you want to do is you want to place a mark 1 inch down on the side, just like that. And then you're going to take your pattern piece and you're going to lay that pattern piece against that 1 inch line like that, making sure everything stays nice and centered with your mark. And then you're going to trace the curve of the top of that pattern onto the wrong side, just right there. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to make that mark so that that's the mark that you need to follow when you're folding that piece down. Once that's done, you need to fuse the Decaville light stabilizer to the wrong side, just like this. You want to line the curve up at the top of the curve of the stabilizer, and you want to center it on that flap pattern. So you're approximately 1/2 inch in from either side. So center top and bottom line and Decaville light. That's pattern piece A, which is your flap. Pattern piece B, which is your front pockets, you need to mark center down at the bottom on the right side only of these pieces. Pattern piece C, which is your back, upper back, center top and bottom on the right side, center top and bottom on the wrong side. And as well, you need to place a mark 1 inch down, trace the top of your pattern piece to create your curve on the wrong side only. That's pattern piece C. Pattern piece D, which is your sides, center top and bottom on both the right side as well as the wrong side. And once again, like you did on pattern piece C, 1 inch down, take the top of the pattern and create that curved line at the top of pattern piece D on the wrong side only. So that's D. Pattern piece E, which is your base, center here, 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 and here. So you're centering on all 4 sides. If you're putting feet on there, you need to put your placement marks there as well. That's on your right side. On your wrong side, you need to do center on both of those areas as well. And then you're going to place 4 lines. You're going to draw 2 lines on the short sides. 1 line over here at 3/8 of an inch in and over here at 3/8 of an inch in. You're going to also draw a line across this way, 1/2 inch in. So remember, 3/8 of an inch on your short side, 1/2 inch on your long side. You're then going to take your base stabilizer and you're going to place that down and center it between those lines and fuse that in place on the wrong side. Pattern piece E. Pattern piece F is your facing. You need to mark center top and bottom as well as your placement marks for your zipper placket. So that's on the right side of both pattern piece Fs. On the wrong side, you need to do the same thing, center top and bottom. But before you draw this 1 inch line, you need to fuse this Decaville light onto the wrong side. You want to make sure it's well centered, and which is approximately 1/2 inch in on all areas right there. Once that's fused in place, then again, you need to take pattern piece F. You need to place that pattern along that 1 inch line. Now this pattern could be about 1/8 of an inch too big, so you want to make sure that your mark is centered with the center line on your pattern, and then you want to trace that top of that curve line onto your facing just like that. That's on the wrong side of pattern piece F. Pattern piece G, which is your zipper plackets, and your zipper would sit like this, so the straight edge is where your zipper is going to be. Center on the curved portion on the right side as well as on the wrong side. And then what you're going to do is you're going to fuse the stabilizer, zipper placket stabilizer, onto the wrong side of this placket piece G. And you want to make sure that it is as close to this straight edge as you possibly can get. And because this is going to be an area we're going to be edge painting. So you want to make sure that that is nice and clean there. That is your zipper placket. Okay, now let's cover our lining pieces. In front of me, I have all my pieces that are prepared. So let's start with pattern piece A, which is your front flap on your lining piece. You're going to need to mark center top and bottom on the right side, top and bottom on the wrong side, as well as you need to place a mark 1 inch down from the top curve on either side, and take your pattern piece, and then you're going to place it down and trace the curve on that area right at the 1 inch line. So that is pattern piece A in your lining, as well as having your fusible interfacing already placed onto this. This is pattern piece B. These are your pocket linings, and you really only have to have the interfacing fused to the wrong side of those pieces. This is pattern piece L, and once again, you just need to have your fusible interfacing attached to that. This is your slip pocket. Pattern piece M, which is your zippered lining pouch in the inside. Again, just fuse your interfacing to the wrong side of this piece. Now this is pattern piece H, and there's a few things that you need to do on one of these pieces. First of all, you need to take your paper pattern piece and you need to cut away that area of the window. You need to place the pattern down on top of one of the lining pieces only to create that rectangle. So you want to trace around that window area, making that rectangle. This is where your placement line only for your zipper overlay. You do not cut that away on your lining piece. You only need to cut it away on your paper pattern piece. So that is for that. You need to do that on one of the pieces only, not both of them. On both of them, however, you need to do center top and bottom on the right side, center top and bottom on the wrong side. So that's pattern piece H. So we'll put that aside. Pattern piece I. You need to mark center top and bottom on the right side, top and bottom on the wrong side. Now these last two pieces need to have a heavy weight interfacing fused to the wrong side. And if you can't find a heavy weight, then I highly suggest you place 2 layers of medium weight on the back before you cut this out. It needs to be fairly stiff and substantial. So that is your pattern piece I. And this is pattern piece J. And again, you can barely see it, but you have a marking center, top and bottom, and a marking top and bottom on this piece. This one also needs to be a heavy weight interfacing, so make sure that you have something that's very substantial. So that covers all of our lining pieces, our exterior pieces, everything you need. So what we need to do now is we need to go to section number 1, which will cover our assembly of our crossbody straps, the preparing of the strap tabs, the optional half moon handle tabs if you're doing them, and we're also going to do some edge painting. So let's head over now to section number 1.